A CBS News weekly magazine will continue.
A few years ago, we met a gentleman in a small town up in the high desert of Southern California. When we broadcast this story, we were afraid of only one thing, that he would sue us. That's what Robert Agnew does. He sues people. He has filed more than 200 lawsuits, and according to him, won a fair proportion of them. That's probably a record for a non-lawyer, a dubious one if you're a judge or a lawyer who's gone into the arena with Bob Agnew, an admirable one if you're a connoisseur of original Americans. Robert Agnew is starting off his day this morning at one of his favorite places. At 79 years old, dressed in his best jacket and tie, he's headed for Superior Court in San Bernardino, California, for another round with the lawyers in one of his current lawsuits.
Call the case of Agnew.
Good morning, Your Honor. James Beretta Thompson in Colgate for Dr. Mosley.
Wasey Armstrong, Jr. on behalf of McCreek and Schnarr and Armstrong.
Mark Sussin on behalf of Defendant Richardson.
Right. Mr. Agnew is present. It is your motion. You may proceed to argue if you wish, sir.
Yes, Your Honor. Your Honor.
Bob Agnew is in court this morning to file a motion in a complicated case in which he is suing a real estate man, a doctor, and a lawyer on behalf of an elderly lady. For Robert Agnew, with plenty of time on his hands, sitting as the plaintiff in court without a lawyer, the morning hasn't cost him a penny. The defendants, on the other hand, are represented by 3 busy lawyers. It's one more court appearance in a case that has been dragging on for months and costing them time and money. These are the kinds of odds that Robert Agnew thrives on. When you get in court, do you usually hire a lawyer?
No, I never have a lawyer.
Never had a lawyer?
Oh, for maybe 45 years since I've seen a lawyer in court.
Why not?
Well, they take your money, and that's it. And in order to get a really good lawyer, it's going to cost you around $10,000. Then he'll fight for you. Less than that, they take your money and go through the motions.
How many lawsuits have you been involved in over the years, sir?
Oh, 200 or so.
What percentage of your cases have you won?
Oh, 75, 80%.
Pretty good record.
Yeah.
That'd be a good record. Of course, a case that's settled out of court can be as good as winning. So here's one of Robert Agnew's triumphs, the City of Beaumont's garbage collection service. Everybody in Beaumont pays $7 a month for garbage and sewer service, and a few years ago, they tried to raise the rates. Agnew claimed the fee was a tax under California's Proposition 13.
So I refused to pay it. They sued me in the small claims court, and I cross-complained and bumped it to Superior Court on the grounds the small claims court ain't got jurisdiction of the tax. So, old Judge Hughes over there, he told the city attorney, you better settle. And they did, so I'm the only guy in the city now that don't pay any trash pickup fee or sewer fees.
I'm paying Bob Agnew's for him.
Ronald Heald heads the garbage collection company in Beaumont.
The city attorney said that I might be able to help the city out a little bit because defending the suit was going to cost the city in the neighborhood of $30,000.
How long does Agnew have this arrangement for?
Well, I guess as long as he's living.
Since he's 79.
That's what I understand anyway. It wasn't real well, and we figured, you know, how long could it really last?
Robert Agnew has outlasted almost everyone who's come up against him. Take his next-door neighbor. You sued your next-door neighbor a couple of times, didn't you?
Yeah.
What for?
About 7 times. Well, I lent her money, and she wouldn't pay, so I sued, grabbed her car, had the sheriff grab her car, garnished her the wages. 2 weeks ago, she moved out. That's the end of her.
She gave up.
She gave up.
Family. The suit against his sister started after Agnew was threatened with a lawsuit, and he says his sister offered to protect his property against any claims.
My sister come to me and says, look, they're going to sue you, and they're going to take your property, and you'll have nothing. I'll protect you. Give me a mortgage on it. I think it was $23,000, something like that. And if anything happens, I'll put in a third-party claim. Like a fool I did. I trust her. Get all through, what she says is mine. There you are. So I have a trial in the end.
Although Agnew settled the case with his sister, the trial itself led to another lawsuit with his brother.
But when she sued me, though, I was cross-examining my mother, and she was way up there, close to 90. And I couldn't get maybe I was a little rough doing it. My brother spoke up from the spectator section, says, I'm going to hit you in your goddamn mouth, you dirty louse. That's what he said. So I sued him for assault. I wanted to.
The suit against his sister brought out something that Agnew has become famous for, his rhetoric against his opponent in the courtroom. You use some pretty strong language from time to time in your legal papers. I think you referred to your sister as depraved, wicked, immoral, lying creature, a scheming vulture, watching and waiting to devour the truth and in his place leave the carcass of a fraud.
All true.
It's all true.
That's right.
You don't say anything in any of your briefs that isn't true, just for effect.
That was all true.
No. This gift for language is not limited to his family. Agnew has been especially eloquent when he starts in on judges. If he doesn't approve of some action of a judge, often a letter will follow containing some original phrases. We spoke to retired Riverside County Judge Scott Dale. I think in another letter, he called a judge a slimy scoundrel.
Right.
Well, now, judges, you're not used to being called that,
No,
are you? In the open court, at least.
He wrote a letter to the Commission on Judicial Performances about me, indicating that I should be taken out of office, and he called me a mad juridic dog. Whatever that is, I didn't know, but I remember that very well. We got so we'd expect this type of thing, so it didn't bother us.
Judges, he's not scared of judges.
No, not at all. No, he sued one in our court.
Here's the judge Agnew sued, William Hyde. Judges don't get sued all that often, do they?
No, that's rather unusual. In fact, except for Mr. Agnew, it's practically an unheard of thing. Now,
In the course of filing suits and writing letters, he's called judges a lot of names. Did he call you any names?
Yes, he sure did.
Like,
Oh, I think he, if I can recall, he referred to me as a drunkard and an incompetent and mentally deranged and a child molester and, well, some other good qualifying statements.
he saved his eloquence once for the Vice Squad in a case where he filed an appeal on behalf of the minor daughter of a friend who had been sentenced to 6 months for prostitution.
First, I said a minor cannot consent to a carnal act. There's no way. They're a minor. That's enough right there. And if anybody should have went to jail and been punished, to be the Vice Squad officer for contributing to the delinquency of a minor. Then I got a little pottery in there. Let's see, and I says, a reversal will ring as a warning to those polluted and polluting wretches of the Vice Squad who look upon women in the same debasing spirit in which Satan, prowling in the midst of splendors and the innocence of paradise, looked and leered with lustful eyes upon the angelic and innocent movements of Eve. Court of Appeals reversed.
After over 40 years of litigation, Robert Agnew still lives modestly alone on Social Security in a small frame house in Beaumont, California, with half a dozen used cars for sale in the front yard. Although he claims to have won 75% of his cases, he says he spent all the money. Have you made a lot of money suing?
Yeah, I made money all right. Spent it all, though. Used to drink it all up.
You gave up drinking?
Oh, yeah, I haven't had nothing to drink now about 4 years.
2 or 3 times a day, he drives one of the used cars down to Little Louie's in town, where he has most of his meals. Louie's seems to be the unofficial meeting place for everyone in Beaumont with legal problems. Although Agnew is known in Beaumont as the man who sues everybody, down at Louie's he happily dispenses his legal opinion for free, being very careful, of course, not to practice law.
Your next jump from the Superior Court and Appellate Department is the United States Supreme Court.
That's where I'll go then.
Then if you lose there, then you go right back downstairs to the state courts and seek a writ of habeas corpus.
If any complications arise, he can always check it out with one of his own legal precedents out in the shed behind his house. Here is housed a sort of Agnew law library where he's kept the paperwork on some of his favorite cases.
No, Archibald was another unlawful detainer. He wouldn't pay my rent. I finally got him out. Drunk driving, that's one of my own cases. That was down here in Banning Municipal Court. I beat that one. I won on that one. That one shocked me so bad, I stopped drinking. Leo Deegan, where I sued him for assault. He shook his fist at me.
His favorite file of all is the one about the $50 traffic ticket, a ticket he got for failure to obey a sign. Now, you and I would pay the $50. But Robert Agnew claimed the sign was unofficial.
So I took an appeal to appellate. And I run into the 3 guys I knew didn't like me, so I disqualified them, and I got 3 brand new ones just as bad. 2 words, judgment affirmed. Well, then I had to go. From there, you can only go not to the Court of Appeals. You have to go to the United States Supreme Court. So I did. And I got a stay of execution from Justice William O. Douglas. And eventually, a few months later, they denied the petition for writ of certiorari. The remitter went back to the municipal court in Los Angeles, but the municipal court forgot to notify me to pay the $50, so they never got their $50.
A good number of lawyers in this part of California have faced Agnew in court. One of them is Don Grant, who's involved in litigation with him right now.
It's usually litigation that's not tremendously serious. It's to some degree perhaps comic relief in a lot of the cases that we handle. So I don't think anybody in the firm is afraid of him. On the other hand, we know that we're going to be pestered, and
He's not afraid of you either.
Oh, he's not afraid of anybody. We know we're going to be pestered by him, and you can't deal with him by telephone. You have to document things in writing because he's a difficult person to deal with personally.
He likes things like appeals and motions and a lot of erudite, arcane legal behaviors,
Sure.
right?
More than I have. Oh, a great success.
Is he in the law books?
Oh, yeah, he's got a lot of published opinions. Much more than I've ever been involved in.
So in effect, he'll go down in the legal history of California. He's in the books.
Well, I think that's probably quite correct. He's in the books, and as long as this legal system, his name will pop up from time to time, standing for some legal precedent.
If he weren't around, would you kind of miss him?
I don't think so.
We've heard a lot of people, including some lawyers, say there's just too darn much litigation, too many people suing. How do you feel?
Can't kill the guy or hit him in the nose. That's awful. Best thing to do then is to wag your tail up.